Hi and welcome everyone. Friar Tuck here. This is my epoch, and today what I'm going to be talking about is getting off the streets quickly, but I'm also going to share some of the struggles that I have making this path and making this choice and stuff like that. Okay, so if you were somebody that's like, man, I'm on the streets right now and I want to know how to get off the streets quick, and you don't know how to do it, for whatever reason, or you're new and you're like, shit, I'm going to be on the streets and I need to know how to get off it quick. What I'm going to do is share with you some of my previous experience, what it was like back in the day. I mean, because I've been in the workforce for about 25 years now. So it's changed a lot. And, every morning I go into Grace and I wait for breakfast, and there's an old man that sits in there and he sells candy and all kinds of other stuff. And him and I have a talk because I give 50 cents for some creamer because they never have creamer. I could go without sugar, but I'd prefer to have creamer. And so I get creamer from him, and then him and I sit back and we talk, and he's probably about 10 or 15 years older than me. And, he's been through some of this experience and on and off. And it's just, sometimes it's like anything in life. Sometimes you just, it keeps pulling you back, either because there's lessons that you haven't learned that you still need to learn, or right now this is just circumstance. Most of your people that are going to end up going homeless, it's not going to be their fault in a lot of ways. I mean, you can sit there and blame them and ridicule them and whatever, but everybody expects the next 20 years to be like the last 20 years, and things were looking up for a while, and so everybody was happy. But the way it used to be is, and I used to brag that I could get off the streets within 6 weeks. Okay, so what I would do is I would go into a city. I'd probably take about 1 or 2, maybe 3 days, get the lay of the land, and then I would go for the low-hanging fruit jobs like janitorial, pretty much like anything. There were plenty of call centers and stuff like that, low-hanging fruit, where you could walk in, get a job that day, and then they would have you scheduled for orientation. So you got like a week or two of free pay doing orientation, and then so you wait about 3 to 4 weeks for your first check, and you take that and put at least half of it aside. Reward yourself, because it's going to be a grind for the next couple of months. Take the next check, and I would go in. That's how I always got into roommate situations, is because it was always a couple $100 cheaper than paying for a 1-bedroom, and I didn't mind living with other people because I knew I was going to move on sooner or later anyways, or I was going to if I was going to stay, I would move up the food chain so that I could afford better and on my own. And by the time I got married, by the time I was 28, I had actually achieved that, to where I was able to afford a luxury 1-bedroom apartment on my salary alone. I mean, it was a grind, but I had reached that point a couple of times in my life where I have done really well. But a lot of it comes from understanding the hustle of how to be able to go out there, get a job real quick, get off the streets, so on and so forth. But that was me in my early 20s, and things have changed a lot in the last 15 years. And so getting off the streets isn't as easy as it used to be. You now have to deal with AI that filters through and does keywords for your resume. So now it becomes a little bit harder if you don't understand that you are playing an SEO game, that's search engine optimization game, with your resume. You're not going to be able to get any type of jobs. So if you know the keywords that they're looking for by reading what it is that they're talking about, then their AI is going to match it and see who's the best fit. So if you really want to be able to get a job quickly in this new economy, you're going to have to be really good at understanding search terms. Okay. And also, you're going to have to be proficient in computers or maintenance of computers, have some knowledge of how to do basic maintenance so that they don't have to spend a lot of money on IT. So things have slowed down in the process of being able to get a job. Whereas, in the 60s, you could walk down the street and get hired that day. By the time, 90s and early 2000s come, you could you could walk down the street and you put in applications and see who would give you an interview at that point in time. But that slowly dwindled away to just going into the places that you knew would always, give you a job. And so, I think even if you think that you're going to become homeless, you should embrace the digital economy. I know a lot of people hate it. They don't like it. They think, oh, what about when the grid goes down? I think that the supply chain may go down. I do think that there are going to be hot spots where there may not be, service. And I think that's going to be mostly in the southern states because of just their lack of assimilation into the modern age to be able to embrace technology. Now the North, they will have it because that's been part of their progression and their evolution of their economies. And even in the Rust Belt, that's how they're reattracting businesses. Instead of relying on factories, they're relying on small things like that. Okay, so it could take you a couple of years to get off the streets. It could take you a couple of months to get off the streets. It just depends upon what it is that you want to do. If you want to get off the streets, and do you want to stay off the streets, and what type of work do you want to do? For me in the digital economy, it is YouTube. I treat it like a business. I ran a business before all of this anyways. And so I grew up a lot in that process, and I got to see the world in a different way because I owned a business. And that's also another reason why I don't want to go work for someone. I want to work for me. I want to use my skills, my ability to be able to go out there and figure out a way to monetize my knowledge, my experience, my skills for those who are seeking to understand or learn about people that have done the things that I've done. Because, we're, as much as we like to think that we're unique, we're not unique. There is a group of people that is doing what we're doing. Some may be large, some may be small, some may be mainstream, most may not. Okay. But that's just something for you to consider. Okay. When thinking about what it is that you want to do to get off the streets. A lot of people see the economy and they think that they're going to have to go, that they may lose everything, that they're expecting a full-on global economic collapse with a global and local wars, especially with what's going on in Texas. You have all of these things that are pushing people to understand that they may have to live the lifestyle that I've been living off and on for 25 years. But now the commitment that I've made is, at least for a while, for a long period of time, I have got to be able to kind of go out and dive into the lifestyle. And the thing is you learn more by teaching it than you do by doing it. And so by sharing some of these experiences with you, I learned how to really be better than what I was. Because I traveled for fun. Some people like bushcraft. He traveled on bike, and he had a good career going, and he just knew how to live inexpensively by, living, like I do in some ways, but still having steady work. So he was a hobo or a traveler, but he didn't get to fully dive into full-on homelessness until you lose everything, and then now you understand what it's like. But you get a glimpse of it in your travels. Me, I learned to embrace it, which is kind of how I was able to get off the streets for a very long time. And so for you as an individual, this is pretty much what I can offer you as advice on how to be able to get off of the streets quickly, or at least in a timely manner. And the thing is what you do, you'll learn that working at, having something productive to do, to be working, even though you're out here and you really don't have much, you'll learn that you'll learn to appreciate it more, and you'll be okay with the fact that you're working and you get to live out in the forest off the land. And who knows, later on you may sit there and go, well, I like living this cheap, and I'm just going to live like this and build whatever it is that you're going to build. Okay, for me, I'm building a YouTube channel, trying to share with you guys some tips, tricks, skills on what homelessness not only is like, but that there is hope at the end of the rainbow if you come out with a purpose, with a plan. Even the gentleman that I was talking to in Grace, that I get my creamer from, he was telling me, that he came out with a plan. And so that was his thing. That's why he was there doing that. And that's why he wasn't doing any dumb stuff, because he was focused. He came out with a plan. He knew what he was going to do. The thing is if you're going to be successful, the number one thing is to formulate a plan. Okay. Even if it's your first time, formulate a plan. Okay. If you formulate a plan, you stick to it, and you put your nose to the grind, and you just realize, okay, good, I get to live in the bushes for a while, and have a long camping trip. Think of it that way for a while until you're able to acclimate it. Don't be ashamed of the situation you're in, because this is what the opportunity that America was supposed to be about, is that you could fall on your face and you could build yourself up from the ground. Okay. And things have changed in how we are as a society, but the ideas are still there and still just as viable now as they were 200 years ago. It's just we refuse to act on it because we think times are different. Things may change, but it's still the same song and dance. So anyways, guys, you know how to help the channel. Like, subscribe, share, leave me a comment, or anything else down in the description. Love to see you over on Patreon. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.